Hello, thanks for joining me today. We are going to be making brownies with, dun 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 dun, the magic ingredient, black beans. I know you think I'm crazy. I know you don't want to try this, but I urge you, try it. I promise it's delicious and you will never know. This recipe is super wholesome. It's super duper easy. And really the only thing that's in it that is like not so great for you is the sugar. Other than that, we have black beans that we have drained and rinsed really, really well. So rinse them until the water runs clear for sure. Then we have rolled oats. We have chocolate chips. The chocolate chips I'm using are unsweetened. Our family really likes dark chocolate. And then we have our dry ingredients, which is just some cocoa, some salt, some baking powder, and then our oil and our maple syrup. Super easy. If you are oil-free or want to reduce the fat content in this, you can sub out the oil for applesauce 1-to-1. So I think it's a 1/4 cup of oil, put in a 1/4 cup of applesauce. Will still be delicious. So let's get started. I'm doing this in a food processor. And quite frankly, you just dump it in, mix it around, put it in the oven. Very easy. If you don't have a food processor, hopefully you have a blender. That's the minimum requirement for this recipe. And what you're gonna do is blend your dry ingredients first, set them aside, dump them out of the blender, set them aside in a bowl, blend your wet ingredients and your beans really, really, really well, and then take them out and hand mix them together. Alternately, if you have a good blender, you can do your dry first, take it out, do your wet, and then add your dry back in. If you have a top of the line blender like a Vitamix, you can do it all at once. If you have a food processor, you can do it all at once. So for today, just to show the steps as if I have a blender, I'm gonna do things separately. So we're gonna start with our oats and dump them in. So we're gonna blend these up until they're very similar to a flour. It may take a few minutes. Okay, those look good. So those are gluten-free oats. So this recipe is vegan friendly, has no dairy, has no animal products, and has no gluten. It is high in protein because we've got those beans in there. It's a recipe that I feel really good feeding my little ones, and they love it. Okay, so now if I had a blender, I would take my oats out and I would put my beans and my wet in. Because I'm using a food processor, once my oats are all ground up, I'm just gonna dump the rest of it in. So easy. I promise you, don't be afraid of the beans. And don't tell anybody. Don't tell your kids. Don't tell the people you're gonna serve this to that it has beans in it until after. That makes it more fun. Because they'll be shocked. Because you do not taste it at all, and it makes for a really gooey, delicious, chewy brownie. Okay, so that was my maple syrup and my oil. If you don't have maple syrup, you can also use agave. What else could you use? You could use honey. You could also just sub over sugar 1-for-1 as well. They may be a little bit drier without the liquid, but you could still do it. So I'm gonna turn this on and just let it go until it's really well blended. Okay, we're all blended. So I can kind of tell how it's coming together by looking at the side. It smells like chocolate cake batter. It smells amazing. So what we're gonna do is I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I have greased a 9x9, I lied, 8x8 baking pan, and I'm just gonna pour it right in. So really does not get much easier than that. I totally forgot to stir in my chocolate chips. So what I'm gonna do is stop, just kind of layer them in. You could stir them in before, probably a better idea. But whatever, it's not the end of the world. Okay, make sure you get all of that ooey gooey brownie mixture into your pan. Oops. So graceful. Okay, all of it. So this is a really good one that you could have the kids do and help you with, because really, if you pre-measure the ingredients or even have them measure the ingredients, they can just dump it in and be done with it. It's perfect. No brownie batter left behind. Get it all in there. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a little mix while it's in there, carefully, because I didn't mix in my chocolate chips. Brilliant. Okay, smooth it all out. Walnuts would be awesome at this point if you have any nuts on hand. I'm gonna top it with the rest of my chocolate chips. We like ours extra chocolatey and fudgy. Okay, that's ready to go. Just like that, we have this beautiful pan of brownies. It's gonna go in the oven for about 15 minutes. One thing I wanna mention is do not overcook your brownies. When they come out, they need to look like they are not all the way done. And as they cool, they'll set, and then that's how you get that really chewy brownie texture. So cook time, 15 to 18 minutes, depending on your oven. I would err on the lesser side because they'll just firm up on their own anyways. So here we go. Okay, so our brownies have been in the oven for 15 minutes. So they look great. They still look a little underdone, so I'm gonna pull them out and show you what that looks like. They smell amazing. So let's take a look at what I mean by underdone. You can see here how around the edges, it's a little bit lighter, and in the middle, it's darker. So that gives us the indication that it's underdone, and it's definitely very soft to the touch. So that's perfect. We don't want to cook it any more than that. We're gonna let our brownies cool completely before cutting into them or eating them. You really want that chewy texture to set in, and if you try to cut them now, they'll probably just be crumbly. They're even better the next day after you take them out of the fridge. I hope you enjoy your black bean brownies. Don't be afraid to try them. I know you're gonna love them.